Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mingnam Menon, and today the topic that I'm going to cover is the coastal plains. As you can see that there's a beach behind me, so I'm in a beach. So now as you can see that these parts are the corals, but they are dead because of the pollution and the oil that is in the sea. So now actually corals, what are corals? I'm going to tell you. So corals are the hard, different colored skeletons of marine animals. But over here there is no color, it's only black. Well, you know why, and it's really sad. So the coastal plain in length is 6,000 kilometers and it is divided into two parts. The western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. So the western coastal plain lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats, and the eastern coastal plain lies between the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats. So in the western coastal plain in width it is 65 kilometers and the eastern coastal plain in width is 120 kilometers. Right now I am in the western coastal plains. You can see that the sceneries which are behind me are not very high because the western coastal plain is really rocky, intended, rugged and narrow in nature. So because of all of this, the western coastal plain is a good place to make ports. And you can see that the water which is here is not clean because of the ship and the oil which is there in the western coastal plains. Let me show you the coastal plain in my map also. So let's come to the western coastal plain. So the western coastal plain is divided into three parts. So the Gujarat coast, which is also known as the Saurashtra coast, then there is the Konkan coast, then there is the Malabar coast. And the Gujarat coast is divided into two parts, which is the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Khambat. Gulf of Kutch is famous for its salty and sandy beaches. So when the high tide comes and when it goes, the water which is remaining evaporates, leaving sand, and that makes white salty beaches. And the famous Luni river of Rajasthan vanishes in the Gulf of Kutch, and there are only a few deltas here like Sabarmati and Narmada and Tapi and Gomti. Now if you leave the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands as their union territories, and if you talk state-wise, Gujarat has the longest coastline and it has two gulfs, and the western coastal plain has the broadest coastline over here. Now let me tell you the difference between a gulf and a bay. So both are a piece of sea or ocean surrounded by three sides of land, but a gulf is really narrow as you can see over here, and the bay is really broad. The Gujarat or the Saurashtra coast has the famous Kandla port. To the Konkan coast has Maharashtra and Goa, which are states, and it even has a union territory which is Nagar and Dadra Haveli. So in my video I have taken you to the beaches of the Konkan coast only. And Mumbai has the largest and the busiest port in India. It is Jawaharlal Nehru Port and it is the fastest growing port of India. Goa has a port which is Marmagaon Port, and it is famous for its beautiful beaches, and it is a famous tourist site also. Coming to the Malabar coast. So it takes the state of Karnataka and Kerala, and it is my dad's native place. Kerala is also known as God's own country, and it is famous for its backwaters and lagoons, and rice and coconut and cashew nut are grown over here, and Kochi is in port there, and it is a natural harbour. Over here snake boat races are done which happen yearly, and many tourists come. Now coming to the eastern coastal plain. So the eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts, the northern Sarkars and the Coromandel. So northern Sarkars cover till the Mahanadi Delta and the Godavari Delta. And the Coromandel has the Krishna and Kaveri Delta. The Mahanadi Delta, also known as the Utkal Delta, is really fertile and rice is mainly grown here and it comes in Odisha. So as there are many deltas, there are not many ports even though it is fertile. There are only two important ports which are Vishakhapatnam and Chennai port. So the Sriharikota from where ISRO launches its satellites is in Andhra Pradesh. So in the eastern coastal plain, rice, sugar and coconut are mainly grown. In the coastal plains, the climate is moderate because in the daytime the cool breeze of the sea blows and in the night because of the warm current the warm breeze comes. This making the climate moderate. So in the western coastal plain, it is monsoon I call it, and the rain starts from the mid of June till the end of September, and sometimes it even extends till October. So in the eastern coastal plain, we get winter monsoon like in Tamil Nadu, but apart from the normal monsoon. See how the sea waves are constantly hitting the rocks, and that's why the rocks start to wither and they start to break into smaller and smaller pieces, and this is how the weathering happens. So apart from the rocky and sandy beaches in the western coastal plains, we get to see new landforms like lagoons and backwaters. So as you can see here, part of the main sea has been and this from a piece of land or rock, and this forms a salt lake. So guys, you can see a part that the part of the sea is separated and it is going there and it is forming a backwater. So you can see here is the main sea. So when the high tide comes, the water backflows to this side. You can see that the water current is so less, but the water current is more higher in the main sea. And this is how backwaters are formed. Part of a sea is separated by this mangrove forest, and you can see that it has a really less current. So this is called as a creek, and behind me you can see these cranes loading and unloading heavy objects and goods. So as you can see that the western coastal plains are famous for their harbors and the eastern coastal plains are famous for their deltas. Apart from coconut trees, another important plantation is mangroves, as you can see. So their roots which are there are pencil-like shape and they are above the ground. I'm just zooming in to show you. So now you can see that these pencil-shaped roots, they're above the ground and they have small pores in them which they use to breathe the oxygen. And that's why they're also known as pneumatophores roots or even breathing roots. So guys, we need to see the mangroves as they give a lot of oxygen to us, and do not pollute our beaches and throw plastic in the water as the marine life is dying, and we need to save mangroves, save the marine life and keep our beaches clean. Bye!